so I might be able to deny their Tailwind now that mine is already up. Would be nice. Perfect. Except the part where I missed Origin Pulse into both of their Pokemon. That was not so perfect. I could have done without that part. Alright, goodbye Kyogre. VGC Legends. Spin a wheel, get a random legendary. Build a team, play Reg I. 2 reasons I like legendaries, and I get to try a lot of different teams and have fun and maybe learn some things. Alright, let's find out what it is. What random legendary will it be this time? Gen 5 again from the looks of it. Is it Zekrom? No, we're making it over to Kyurem. It's Kyurem. Okay, another one with 3 forms. Gonna be interesting for sure. Alright, so much like Necrozma, we have one basic form that is noticeably weaker than the other 2, and 2 powered up forms that play somewhat differently. And probably will be choosing one of those, but I'm not sure which one yet. I have a suspicion, but I'm not sure. Unlike with Necrozma, it's a little bit hard to find a niche in the current meta for any of these, but let's see what I can do. Regular Kyurem, of course, has a lower base stat total than the others, and also not a whole lot going for it. With regular Necrozma, I could have used like a bulky setup set. There's not really setup available for this Kyurem, so it doesn't feel like there's much to be done with it at all. If I go to Munch Stats, I did look at this earlier, but I've got a new tab here. We can see that white Kyurem is used about 3 times as often as black Kyurem, and regular Kyurem doesn't make the list at all. Let's look at black Kyurem first. That's a little bit more on the unusual side. I think regular Kyurem is not even worth trying. I don't have an idea with it. Black Kyurem could be fun. Icicle Spear, Scale Shot, Loaded Dice, that could be fun. It's not an especially good restricted Pokemon, but it could be entertaining to try it out. And I see its most common restricted partner is Kyogre. That could make sense, right? We could use it as an Ice type on a Rain team that... What's its base speed? It's definitely faster than Ice Rider Calyrex, but also it can boost its speed with Scale Shot. Oh, 95, yeah. That's a lot faster than Ice Rider Calyrex. Not as an especially significant difference in this meta, but yeah, we can boost it with Scale Shot as well. And then Icicle Spear can cover Grass types and Dragon types. That could be fun. I might go for that, actually. The alternative, of course, is White Kyurem, which is probably the better one. It's definitely the one that I've tried more often in the past. We can see here, Life Orb, Assault Vest, Choice Specs, Expert Belt. Just throwing off strong attacks, Freeze Dry, Fusion Flare, and Draco Meteor are the most common by far. Slightly less than half are using Blizzard. A little surprised at how low Earth Power is, but I guess Fusion Flare covers some of the same things. Fusion Flare plus Ice Stab, yeah. And those are used with Alolan Ninetales on Snow teams. Most common restricted partner is Zamazenta. So that's the kind of team where you'd want to get the snow up and just throw off those powerful, well, not necessarily blizzards, because actually only a minority of them are running blizzard, but big special attacks. That was my first thought, was to use White Kyurem and throw off blizzards. But I'm actually not leaning that way anymore, because one, it's not that good in this format. Snow teams especially are tricky because there's a lot of other weather running around, especially Sun set by Koraidon and Groudon, and Rain set by Kyogre. And Alolan Ninetales just doesn't really have the stats to keep up very well in this format. I mean, it could be fun. It wouldn't be an especially strong team, but it could be entertaining. But also, like I said, if I'm using Kyurem most of the time, that is what I'm going to do. I actually am intrigued by this black Kyurem with the Icicle Spear, Loaded Dice, Scale Shot stuff. Pairing it with Kyogre I think makes a lot of sense. We can run Fusion Bolt for some electric coverage as well. That actually patches up Kyogre's weaknesses, or not weaknesses, gaps in its coverage pretty nicely. I mean, it's Black Kyurem, so let's not set our expectations too high. But I think it's a really fun idea. I think it's going to be Black Kyurem. I genuinely was expecting that I would pick White Kyurem, but it's an entertaining idea. So hypothetically, we're talking Scale Shot, Icicle Spear, Fusion Bolt, and Protect. Scale Shot will boost its speed. Both Scale Shot and Icicle Spear benefit from the Loaded Dice. That means it has no cover for Intimidate, but it's Kyurem. It doesn't really get a good physical ice stab otherwise, I don't think. Does it get Icicle Crash now? No. It's kind of stuck with Icicle Spear anyway, and with a loaded dice, that's actually not bad. Fusion Bolt is nice coverage. I don't think there's anything in particular that's missing out on here. I mean, Terra Blast, Rock Slide, Outrage. I don't think we need any of that. We pair it with Kyogre. And then the way I would normally build out this team is like Tornadus, Landorus, Rapid Striker, Shifu. I was gonna say Zacian, but I can't run Zacian because I already have both of my restricted Pokemon. Tornadus, Landorus, Rapid Striker, Shifu. People are running it with Amoonguss. People are running it on more bouncy teams from the looks of it. Amoonguss, Incineroar. But I like the idea of going offensive with this. Maybe it gets a little bit similar to the last team, but that happens sometimes. There are a lot of these videos. There's enough variety across all of them. And I mean, this is what I do for a rain team these days. Tornadus, Landorus. Let's make sure we get the correct ability this time. Urshifu. And then I actually have some flexibility in the last slot, right? I don't have an electric type, but I do have electric coverage already. I don't have a dragon type, an ice type. I could do a grass type. I could do something like Rillaboom. Or I could run Amoonguss. I could maybe cut Landorus for Amoonguss. Or, yeah, cut Landorus and do Amoonguss and Incineroar and have a more bouncy team, but I think I like Landorus. I mean, Miraidon is still a massive threat to this team. In that case, Rillaboom is probably valuable, right? Because it weakens Miraidon some. Maybe that also helps to explain why people are running Indeedee with Black Kyurem. Because Indeedee can change the terrain, and it can also create openings for Kyurem to set up. With Follow Me. Rillaboom can do it with Fake Out. Rillaboom weakens Miraidon. I think it's worth a shot. I don't know if Rillaboom is the best idea on this team, but I think it's worth a shot. Farigiraf also might be worth thinking about, just because, or not Farigiraf. Well, yeah, Farigiraf, but I meant Serena, because it's a grass type and it stops priority. And Scale Shot could give Kyurem a bit of an issue with priority, with it lowering defense. But I'm more comfortable with Rillaboom. I don't really know how to use Serena well. What Terra type are people running on it? Electric? That makes sense. That's worth considering. I also would think that something like Fairy could be worthwhile, right? Because then it can... It doesn't have to worry about Draco Meteor from Miraidon. It could probably take a Dazzling Gleam. It also can take a Dazzling Gleam with Terra Electric. Just as well. Fairy would be nice to stop Draco Meteor. Does Water make sense? Maybe. That gives it a little bit of cover into like Zacian and Zamazenta, but it's not doing a whole lot back to them that it can't do with Terra Electric. And boosting the Fusion Bolt is a nice idea. Maybe Electric is the right call. I see Fairy is the second most common. I'm down to try Electric. And then... I mean, we're going to stick to what I know here. Like I said, it's a little bit similar compared to last video, but... I mean, so be it. That's how it goes sometimes with the wheel, and with a lot of videos in this series, there's a decent variety of teams anyway. I don't want to go too crazy here. Definitely have the right ability on my Landorus this time. I like Scarf, Rapid Striker, Shifu still. I like Assault Vest, Rillaboom. And there's not really much point keeping you around while I fill out the rest of the details. Let's just cut to the finished team. Alright, this should look pretty familiar. And if not, go check out earlier parts of the series. Oh, I missed Rillaboom's Terra type. That should be fire. I'll fix that before we jump in. Also, I said last time that I was kind of interested in trying Terra Ghost Kyogre, so it's not so easily faked out, so I thought I might as well this time. That's a fun little experiment for me, and also I am, of course, looking forward to seeing what Black Kyurem can do. Let's find out together, shall we? Like I said, was not my guess as to which Kyurem form I would choose, but I saw Loaded Dice, Scale Shot, Icicle Spear, and I thought, yeah, that seems kind of fun. Instead of just running back Blizzard Spam, which I've tried a number of times before. and know to not be very good if we're being honest, but it would be fun too, no question. Got a Miraidon Iron Treads team here. They also have Rillaboom, which is interesting. I mean, I know Miraidon Rillaboom is a thing. I just don't have my head around it. Volcarona is an annoying mon to deal with for a lot of teams. Probably Terra Grass, so Kyogre can't just shut it down. Plus, they probably have Wide Guard on Lunala. But, honestly, for a physical restricted, Black Kyurem, what am I saying? Black Kyurem might be a relatively good physical restricted to have into this, right? Because if it clicks Terra Grass, I can Icicle Spirit. And even if it doesn't, I can Scale Shot it. As long as it's not Terra Fairy. And I don't think those are contact moves. If I'm not mistaken. Alright, what do? Tornadus Landorus lead? I kind of like Tornadus Landorus lead into Miraidon stuff. Let's just bring the restricteds. That means a Miraidon matchup where I'm not bringing Rillaboom. That's a little counterintuitive, but we'll see how it goes. They lead Miraidon Iron Treads. Because I'm not a coward, I'm going to just Tailwind and Sandsear Storm. Probably miss one of them, but we'll live with it. Protect on the Treads. They just knock out Tornadus. I get my one and only Tailwind for this game. We'll see what comes in. Probably their... That could be their Rillaboom. No. I missed the Sandsear Storm into Farigiraf. What can you do? You can bring in your Kyogre. And click Water Spout. I think I'm down to do that, and I won't miss the Sandsear Storm this time. So unless they do have Rillaboom in the back, anything should take a lot of damage here. Still no Lunala on the field to click Wide Guard. That probably is what's in the back. But they can't just switch it in here safely. Let's see. Big spread damage coming out here. We'll see what they have to play around it. They go for the double protect on the Treads. That gets wiped out by the Sandsear Storm, so that's a full power single target Water Spout going into Farigiraf. They do now have Miraidon, and whatever their other Pokemon is, and my guess is Lunala. Kyogre is, of course, choice locked into Water Spout. They don't know that. But it's not like it's unusual for Kyogre to run a choice item. Let's see how they react to the Water Spout now anyway, and I'll go for Earth Power into Landorus to cover for a Wide Guard. Instead of going for Sandsear Storm again. Did I say Earth Power into Landorus? Obviously I meant into Miraidon. Electro Drift will wipe out Kyogre. I think I'm okay with that. We knock out Miraidon back. Still one turn of Tailwind. I have Kyurem. Shall I just go for a terrain boosted Terra Electric Fusion Bolt into Lunala? I think so. And Landorus can break the Shadow Shield first. Terra Fairy. Doesn't matter to these attacks. Boom. Big stab equivalent Fusion Bolt. Kyurem closing out the first game. Very nice. Solid offensive tempo all the way through that. This person has a Sylveon. That's pretty cool. And an Entei. Indeedee, Lunala. So could be Psy Spam stuff. Sylveon. Also big spread damage. Fairy type. Complements the Psy Spam stuff nicely. I don't have Wide Guard on my team. Rhydon and Entei as powerful physical sun attackers. Wellspring Mask Ogerpon with the Follow Me support. I can't... Sorry, I have another tab making... or another window making noise. Let me just deal with that. That's my bad. Okay. Yeah. What do I want to do? I want to overwhelm this team. That's usually the answer when I'm running something like this, right? I could maybe lead Kyurem. It's kind of dicey. The interesting thing here is they have a little bit of anti-synergy with Indeedee and Entei. If I click Scale Shot with Kyurem, then the extreme speed from Entei becomes a huge threat, but not if they put their own Psychic Terrain up. I don't know how best to attack this. Urshifu could be very strong here. I could do Urshifu Kyogre. That's weakened by Koraidon switching in. It's also very weak to Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. But I'm going to do it because I thought too long and ran out of ideas. Or ran out of time to generate more ideas is what I mean. They lead Entei and Ogerpon. Yeah, so the Follow Me is a massive threat now. I can Water Spout anyway if I want because it'll still hit the other Pokemon. Probably better actually to Origin Pulse. I don't think I want to Terrasilize Kyogre here, and it could take an Extreme Speed to weaken the Water Spout. And I could go for a U-turn into Ogerpon. I think I should. It will then be healed by the Origin Pulse, but it's still, I think, is worthwhile to reposition here. They switched to Kyogre, or Koraidon. Probably should have anticipated that. That did a lot to Ogerpon. I think I can go Kyurem here. And I can think about Terrastalizing. Well, I mean, taking a hit from Koraidon is always a big problem. I can't be leaving Kyogre in on this. Guess I haven't thought through my Koraidon matchup, huh? Maybe I need Tornadus to deal with these to get the speed advantage and also threaten it with Bleak Wind Storm. Yeah, probably should be bringing Tornadus to a game like this. I'll Terra Electric. In the hope that it improves my chances of taking a hit from this, although I wouldn't bet on it, but I don't have a better idea. And let's go for Scale Shot. They Flame Charge Kyurem. It's Life Orb Koraidon. Urshifu actually survives a Horn Leech, but Ogerpon is back up to full. But Scale Shot, as long as it gets 3 hits, which I think is guaranteed with loaded dice. Nice, knocks out Koraidon. But Kyurem probably just lose to Entei now, right? And I don't think they brought in DD. Do I have to let Kyurem go down? Can I pivot Kyogre in? Let's see, U-turn? And Fusion Bolt Entei. They can only Extreme Speed one target. They actually choose Urshifu. Now I get both of these in. Their Sunsetter is gone. The Ogerpon is still a problem, right? Because if I want to just click big water attack with Kyogre, that's always healing Ogerpon. But let's see how that stacks up against a terrain boosted Woodhammer. If this is a losing play, we'll find out together. Entei drops. Who's last? Probably Lunala. Lunala could have Wide Guard, but that doesn't really do much for them in this position. They actually want Ogerpon to be hit by the Origin Pulse, and Lunala isn't attacking if it's clicking Wide Guard. Horn Leech Kyogre, just KOs. Yeah, fair enough. Alright. Yeah, against Koraidon and Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, I definitely think I needed Tornadus, but I just kind of rambled too long and ran out of time to think it through. Let's actually Grassy Glide, try to break the Shadow Shield without taking extra recoil. But now we don't take a Moongeist Beam. Protect. And get their Shadow Shield right back. Okay, fair enough. GG. Alright, next. Shadow Rider, Koraidon, Hearthflame Mask, Ogerpon, Rillaboom, Grimmsnarl, and Incineroar. That is a lot of Pokemon weak to Bleak Wind Storm, and good reason to run Speed Control. Tornadus. Yeah, the Koraidon matchup is still an issue, though. I can still bring Kyurem. It's, I don't know if it's going to hit hard enough through screens or Intimidate. But it's the Kyurem video. Let's just try it. Bring Kyogre for sure. And I think we bring Urshifu, because we have the speed advantage against Calyrex with the Choice Scarf. I can't count on Tailwind always being up. They lead Rillaboom, Grimmsnarl. There's probably a fake out coming into Kyurem, but I'll take this Icicle Spear into Rillaboom if they'll let me. They also could switch Incineroar in. There's fake out, okay. Is it Thunderwave Grimmsnarl? Feels like it usually is these days. I don't actually know the numbers. I just seem to run into a lot of them. Can't taunt it, of course, because it's a dark type, and Tornadus is Prankster. So I just click Bleak Wind Storm, and I actually think I like Scale Shot into Rillaboom for the speed boost. It is Thunderwave Grimmsnarl, but it misses. But I don't have a lot. There's not a lot I can do to stop it from trying that again. They forfeit immediately? I don't think that game was over. I don't know what they have in the back, but if they just land the Thunder Wave this time, they should be in a pretty good position with these restricteds, no? Don't know what that was about, but a win's a win. Alright. Oh, wow. Okay. Smeargle and Sneasler. Whoa. Notorious threats right there. With Miraidon, Iron Hands, Terapagos, and Regieleki. Wow. 3 electric types. That's probably Electric Seed on Bird and Sneasler, spreading Dire Claw status. Probably some kind of setup Terapagos enabled by Smeargle, Sneasler, even Regieleki with like Electro Web or maybe Screens. Ooh, this team looks like a menace. How do I deal with it? Tornadus, Landorus, Tailwind, Sandsear Storm. I think I want Rillaboom for this one. But then that comes... Then immediately I only have room for 1 restricted. I think I do need Landorus, right? They have 3 electric types and a Sneasler. Do I need Rillaboom? Rillaboom feels kind of boring but sound here. I don't know. Actually, I kind of want to bring everyone to this game, and I can't do that. Right, because Scarf or Shifu could be solid here. The Aleki is a problem. I'm going to bring Kyurem in or Shifu. Let's go aggressive. Might need to go aggressive to beat this team. Alright, Smeargle, Terapagos. I think taunting Smeargle is more valuable than Tailwind here. In this immediate position, I mean. Unfortunately, I do have the correct ability on Landorus, so I can't get a Sludge Bomb poison into Terapagos because of sheer force. But I can look to break the Terra Shell. They fake out Landorus. Alright. They just Terra Starstorm and knock it out. Okay, should have protected Landorus. That's my bad, I guess. I didn't think they'd go so aggressive immediately, but works out nicely for them there. I think what I'm going to do here is Bleak Wind Storm to try to break the Terra Shell. And that way I can get a neutral and not resisted Icicle Spear into Terapagos. They go Miraidon. They Terra Stellar immediately and turn off their own terrain. That's an interesting play. And I forgot that my Kyurem is faster than my Tornadus, but it works out because they don't have the Terra Shell anyway. They do have big spread damage, but of course the Miraidon can't attack this turn. Bleak Wind Storm doesn't quite get the KO. It does drop its speed, but I think actually I let Terapagos get away this turn as I... Actually, I think I Tailwind to protect. And then I let Tornadus down, and I can attack with 2 Pokemon. Yeah, Tailwind's up. Because now I can click Surging Strikes into Terapagos. This will lock Urshifu in for the rest of the game, but Surging Strikes is fine into anything here except Miraidon. And I can Icicle Spear the Miraidon slot right now. I'll catch Smeargle. That's good. I should KO it through a Sash. Yep. Perfect. I just kind of threw away Smeargle's Focus Sash there. Miraidon is back with the Sneasler. That means they have Fake Out pressure, of course. Oh, they've actually probably got me, right? Because I can't protect Urshifu, so they can Fake It Out and then knock it out with Miraidon while Kyurem protects. So I actually can't protect Kyurem here. What I need to do is Surging Strikes and Icicle Spear, and that way I can knock the Miraidon out with Icicle Spear. Maybe. I can't Terrasilize. They already Terrasilized Terapagos. I can knock the Miraidon out with Icicle Spear, so it can't KO Urshifu this turn. After that, Sneasler... I just still have 1 more turn of Tailwind, actually. They fake out Kyurem. Alright. I thought they would fake out Urshifu, anticipating Kyurem to protect. Maybe they thought Urshifu would protect. They don't know that I don't have it, do they? Maybe they didn't then. I don't think the Terra Water makes any difference here. They got me anyway, so I guess I can't argue with their play. But yeah, the reason I didn't protect Kyurem there is that I thought they would take advantage of that by faking out Urshifu. And then they just have too much for Kyurem to deal with after that. But they just went for the fake out into Kyurem anyway, and they got me, so well done by them. Groudon, Miraidon, Iron Valiant, Dawn, Vertigraph, Dawn, Bronzong, Dawn, and Chien-Pao, Dawn. That is an odd team. I mean, I see the vision, I think, but it's a little bit of an unusual. It's constructed a little bit unusually. How do I beat it though? Landorus is very strong here immediately, except into Chien-Pao. I could lead Landorus or Shifu. It'll be Scarf Pow though, right? Or I mean Sash Pow. They DC'd. Hopefully they'll be back. I could lead Kyogre Landorus, right? Because what I want to do with that is deny Trick Room, but they probably have Wide Guard on Iron Valiant, so I can't just Water Spout them, even if Groudon is off the field. All right, let's do Landorus or Shifu. Tornadus, Kyurem. That's probably not enough offense without Kyogre, but I'll give it a go. Miraidon, Bronzong, so they are threatening Trick Room immediately. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. I have no damage into Bronzong from Landorus. It's immune to all of Landorus's attacks. I got an Earth Power Miraidon, but alright, let's just do what damage I can here. I can Earth Power Miraidon, but not before it attacks Urshifu. Let's just do what damage I can here. But I think they'll get their Trick Room. Sad thing is Torn Ogre would have blasted through this Bronzong. But I thought they'd lead Iron Valiant to cover for a Water Spout. But maybe they've been testing this team for a while and they found they don't need to in positions like this because Kyogre is scared off. I guessed wrong. I don't know. Wait, why did I tunnel vision into Trick Room? They have so many fast Pokemon. It's Gravity Bronzong. So they'll land their Precipice Blades now. And also they can hit Landorus. But I can also hit the Bronzong with Sandsear Storm now. And they haven't set Tailwind. Groudon can be faster than Landorus. I want to Rain Dance in Sandsear Storm, but I think I actually have to Tailwind in Sandsear Storm and hope I connect. Let's just do it. If this works, I can Rain Dance next turn. But of course, with Gravity up, the Precipice Blades can hit both of my flying types here, so we'll see. Nice, we hit both. I have Tailwind, they don't. They forfeit. Okay. I really tunnel visioned hard into Trick Room considering that they have one of the fastest threats, one of the fastest threats, one of the fastest supports. Probably should have seen the Gravity coming. Groudon teams like running Gravity. But yeah, they brought that without any speed control, so it just couldn't hold up as soon as I got my speed control on the board. So I did a lot of worrying that game, but it was actually very favorable. Shadow Riders, Zamazenta, Smeargle, Raging Bolt, Rillaboom, and Tornadus. I don't think my Black Kyurem likes to see a Zamazenta. Really not good at dealing with Zamazenta. I guess that's what teammates are for. Landorus is pretty good at dealing with Zamazenta. Zamazenta is a threat, though. It takes Kyurem stabs, no problem. Threatens it with Body Press. Has Wide Guard to cover for Kyogre. It also is teamed up with Raging Bolt and Rillaboom, so they have a lot of Kyogre answers. They could have Wide Guard on Smeargle, although on this team, they might not. They might go for a Decorate into that Shadow Rider and just snowball from there. That's a threat. They have Tornadus as well, so I can't overwhelm them with Tailwind because they have their own Tailwind and they have the fastest restricted here. Yeah, scary team to say the least. I'm going to lead Tornadus or Shifu. I'm going to try to knock Smeargle out through its sash if they let me. I'm going to go for my Tailwind. I think I need Rillaboom. Do I need Rillaboom? I don't want to need Rillaboom. I don't think I need Rillaboom. I'll bring my restricteds. I don't know that Kyogre is good in this matchup. I'm not sure I agree with my own decision there. Smeargle's gonna go for Fake Out. And actually, they can just knock out my Urshifu, so this is a rough spot already. I don't think the Calyrex had, or I don't think the Smeargle has Wide Guard. I'm gonna go to Kyogre here because it should be able to take a hit. I thought they would Fake Out. I could have just attacked the Smeargle there. They do Psychic the Urshifu slot. I have Tailwind up. They don't. I'm gonna Bleak Wind and Origin Pulse. I don't think they have Wide Guard on Smeargle, but they absolutely could. If they do, they don't use it here. Smeargle drops. We're going to see Zamazenta next, though. Horn. Yeah, because they can outspeed and knock out my Kyogre now. Actually, wait. Unless they Terrasilize, I can taunt their Tornadus. They also could have a Mental Herb. But... And I mean, unless they Terra Dark specifically. There are a couple of different ways they can cover for the taunt, but they might not have either of those in place. So I might be able to deny their Tailwind now that mine is already up. Would be nice. Perfect. Except the part where I missed Origin Pulse into both of their Pokemon. That was not so perfect. I could have done without that part. Alright, goodbye Kyogre. I'll go Urshifu here, though. They can't protect their Calyrex. They can switch out and Bleak Wind, but I'll Terra Water, so I should be able to take the Bleak Wind and do big damage into whatever's in the back. Hopefully it's not Raging Bolt. I'll click my own Bleak Wind. Anything except Raging Bolt should take a lot of damage here. They actually just stay in. Okay, that did a lot. They Bleak Wind back, that also does a lot, but Urshifu will survive, and I get... Tailwind is over, but Urshifu's Scarfed. I get my Black Kyurem in here. Unfortunately, I can't Terrasilize it because I already Terrasalized Urshifu. But their Tornadus being at -1 speed, I should be able to just Icicle Spear. Zamazenta will be faster than Kyurem. I'll try it. Icicle Spear and Surging Strikes into Zamazenta. Terra Grass Zamazenta. They definitely won this turn. Let's see what they did. I think they knock out Kyurem and then they knock out Urshifu with Bleak Wind Storm. Yeah. Alright. Alright, Terra Grass Zamazenta kind of boomed me. Yeah, alright, this team has not had a very successful run. I think that's 3 losses already, but that felt pretty quick, so I'll get one more game. It's just not a good day for rain teams, I think. I mean, usually I have a stronger second restricted than Black Kyurem, but even so, usually when I try out a rain team on the ladder, I can string together some more wins than this. Here's an opponent with a very different rain team. And since this is Black Kyurem's last stand, I'll obviously bring it to this game. I'll lead it. You know what? I'll lead Black Kyurem. I'll try to set up that scale shot. Whatever happens, happens. Lead it with Tornadus for the speed control. Bring Kyogre. And I'll bring Rillaboom because it changes the terrain and it threatens their other 2 big attackers. And hopefully I still have enough for Amoonguss. I mean, Loaded Dice Icicle Spear is pretty good for Amoonguss, especially with Fusion Bolt to cover for Water Terra. But yeah, last game of the video. Just gonna lead Black Kyurem, and whatever happens, happens. Don't love seeing the Sneasler. That could be running Fake Out. Guess I'll cover for that. And Tailwind. They're Fairy immediately on the Miraidon. Don't love to see that because harder to threaten it with... Actually, kind of was hoping they'd knock Tornadus out there. Harder to threaten it with an Icicle Spear. I think what I'll do is Terra Electric. Better take the Dazzling Gleam. Icicle Spear into the Sneasler. Switch to Rillaboom. I was kind of hoping that Tornadus would go down and I could get Kyogre in next to Kyurem this turn. This looks like it might KO if it gets all 5. It doesn't get all 5. That's not great. Sneasler's a giant threat now. Miraidon still is as well. I'll scale, I'll Scale Shot this slot and I'll fake out the Sneasler. 0 for 17 on Dire Claws. Sneasler is such a trap, says my opponent in chat. These things happen. Why did I click Scale Shot into a Fairy type? I was thinking about a switch, but they had no reason to switch. Alright, I need to stop laddering after this for today. That's just pure tilt right there. So we'll call it after this game. Miraidon takes the Origin Pulse. Which I clicked because I thought there'd be a Dire Claw coming into Kyogre. Yeah, alright, I'm just not making good calls. And I clicked Scale Shot into a Fairy type. It's unfortunate. Black Kyurem could have used a better showcase than this, but it happens. We'll call it here. And we'll be back stronger next time with a different legendary. Hey, the Black Kyurem still had some decent moments, I think. Can't complain too much. It's a strong Pokemon for sure. It's just not... It just doesn't quite have the tools to compete for one of only 2 restricted slots on most teams. Missing that Origin Pulse is potentially game losing. Actually, the full pair is the bigger problem. Well, it was that kind of laddering session. Thanks for sticking around all the same. Black Kyurem is a cool Pokemon. It's hard to make it work, but I'm glad I gave it a go. But that is definitely enough laddering for today. So see you next time with whatever legendary the wheel gives me then.